Barnes pose you defensively?
The first problem he poses is transition. He's really when he's on the floor, they get 4 more transition attempts per game, so they're really giving him freedom to push it. So it starts there. He's a little non-traditional in that he handles a lot for a 6'9", 6'10" guy. So we'll have to deal with his pick and rolls also. And then he can really disrupt on the defensive end. So really good defender. That's 3 things right there. Heck of a player. We got to be ready for him.
You mentioned the transition aspect of Ferguson, trying to increase the volume of offensive rebounding that you guys want to do and trying to balance playing transition defense.
Yeah.
Where do you think that's gone so far in preseason?
Well, we haven't rebounded very well. Offense, I think we're 28th or something. So that, and our defensive transition has been, I'd say, average. So, listen, these are new concepts. It's going to take time, but definitely an area of improvement for us. Our transition defense will be tested tomorrow. That's the best thing they do. So we got to be really locked in there. But that doesn't mean we're not going to the boards, right? We're still going to go to the offensive board.
You mentioned a little while back. We talked about Isaac. You mentioned Bruce Brown and some potential comparisons there with him being a role player. Remember that?
Yeah.
If you could just expand on what you were talking about and how you see those similarities.
Yeah, I think Bruce in early years, right, when he was in Detroit, it was, kind of don't worry about his catch and shoot, basically a driver, cutter, and Bruce really improved his three-point shooting, much like Isaac has. Both physical screeners. Bruce can really, get in that pocket and make a play, which is what we want Isaac to be doing. Similarities. I guess Isaac's probably a little bigger, but that's a good comp for him. Obviously, Bruce helped Denver win a championship, right? So that's a good comp. Isaac's still got a good runway here. To simulate some of that stuff Bruce does. I think it help our team.
What are you learning about Isaac if you're getting to know him more and know his game?
I love his personality. I mean, he's just, he's a pleasant person to be around. That's sometimes that's really important. Always a smile, always positive. So that's great. But then, when the ball's tossed up, he's a, heck of a defender and really good teammate. He's gonna be important for us. I know he had he's a little banged up, and hopefully he'll be ready to go tomorrow.
You kind of brought it up with the offensive rebounding. Is there a time when you tell your guys with a certain group you got to get back, and certain times that you do have to crash more?
Yeah, I think I do think it is scouting, right? Like if we feel like we're getting hammered in transition, you can easily make that 4 back, or usually you always send the 5. But you can make those adjustments in game or pre-game. If you see a team that is great in transition, you could easily say, "Hey, everybody, back this game." The only thing, the teams that are really good in transition, sometimes they're not the best defensive rebounding teams. So it really depends, but definitely can be a scouting thing.
With Darius, and specifically talking about the defensive end, it looked like he was really paying the passing lanes well in the preseason.
Yeah.
How much of a weapon can that be when you have that kind of pressure on the perimeter?
Man, he's like one of those elite defensive back. Like he reads the play so well. Like I always respected him as a defender, competing against him, but once he's off the ball, he sees the game as well as anybody, and that's if you're in the right position, you can get steals, and he's great off the mark, much like a defensive back that gets a lot of interceptions. He's in that elite category.
with Toronto's size, I mean, everyone says that no one is under 6'9" on their roster. What kind of challenge does that present to your team when it comes to just implementing the offense or even just defending that?
Yeah, their size and athleticism, right? That's the two things, and you know they've had a kind of template for drafting and recruiting that type of player. So we know, we know that. We talked about transition. We also know the offensive rebounding piece with them. We got to keep them off the boards because of their size. Pirtle gives them a real force. They can put Boucher at the 5, who's a great athlete, great offensive rebound. So we really got to be locked in to kind of combat that athleticism and that size.
And I know there's a lot of conversation on who you're going to play for Max and small forward, but did you see Evan possibly set? I know his traditional spot is the 4, a little bit of 5, but did you see him playing a little bit of that wing type spot on the floor?
Now that you mention it, we haven't thought of it. We haven't played with it in preseason, but I think everything's on the board. I mean, I think we have a pretty good idea, what we're going to do, but that hasn't been discussed yet. But it's not a bad idea if things don't go the way we want them to go, because he's skilled enough. He's skilled enough to play the 3, especially the way he handles the ball and the way he passes it.
From the half-court lens, when you have Dean in there versus when you have Max in there, obviously one's a little bit less of a mover around the board.
Yeah.
How does that change the dynamic for Evan when you have the ball in his hands like that? Like, because obviously one's more of a spacer, another one's a little bit more of a chaser spacer.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Max is constantly moving, constantly cutting. Dean is much more of a static spacer. Although, I've been saying this, we definitely want, Dean to be, cut more and offensive rebound more, and I think he's done that. We don't want him just to be a spacer, even though we know that's an elite skill. But I think our guys are comfortable, our starters are comfortable playing with Dean, and obviously we get the defensive benefits of him, but it's definitely a different kind of dynamic, and especially when it comes to our pick and roll offense, where maybe Max was cutting all the time out of the corner. Now you got a static guy like Dean.